Since I can remember, Hispanic men have been underrepresented in Hollywood and TV. Currently now, Latin Hispanic men are the most underrepresented group in Hollywood to this day. A lot of the cliches of Latin men in Hollywood is that they are villains, thieves, criminals, and cowardly. You can look no further than the first Indiana Jones movie to see this example.
He was good. He was very, very good.
Senor, nobody's come out of there alive. Please. No time to argue. Throw me the idol. I throw you the whip. Give me the whip. Adios, senor.
It is also worth mentioning that Latina women often get cast into roles usually with a white counterpart romantic lead. White male counterparts and Latina women are more likely than simply just a Latin man with a Latin woman. And this seems like a strange tradition and pattern in Hollywood movies, as well as even in TV shows, etc. But there's also problems with the way Latina women are cast, as they are often sexualized and put there as the love interest, typically of a white male lead. But this isn't going to be about Latina women. We'll save that for a later video, which I'm currently working on. A more disturbing recent example of treating Latin men as a type of animal outside of orderly race is in the movie End of Watch, where they are seen as a problem or the other that needs to be feared.
God! Suelta la pistola!
Yo, northbound through the houses. Hispanic male, blue checkered shirt, zero head. He's a parolee. He's fucking huge.
13, suspect headed northbound, heavyset male, Hispanic, shaved head. Weapon used was a knife. KMA. Lizzie, let's do this shit.
Careful, man, on your left. He's fucking huge.
Where, in a classic white man's burden example, the white protagonist must bring order or save the Latin man's family. Strangely enough, David Ayer continues to display Latin men primarily as gangsters or cholos, and of course the white man in the fixture to either lead or save or outdo, even in the context of being bad. Which brings me to another problem with representation of Latin men is their constant emasculation and or their roles as the secondary and often even less than that to the white protagonists. I remember growing up watching the sitcom The 70s Show, for example. The show had a rare example of a Hispanic character who was actually a regular character, as in he was in every episode. As a kid, I was amused, found this inclusion, inclusive. But looking back, I realized now that he was constantly emasculated, and he was also the butt of many jokes regarding his masculinity or him not being able to get with any women, as did the other white characters who all had girlfriends at some point before he did.
Donna!
I too must go to the bathroom. Eric?
No, it doesn't work that way with guys.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I just love romantic movies, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Similarly, although not Latin, is Raj from The Big Bang Theory. Although he is of Indian heritage, it is important to note that the emasculation happens historically to Asian brown men as well. Raj had possibly an even worse treatment, where not only was he emasculated constantly, but also could not even verbalize or speak to a woman at all at the beginning of the show. Further into more recent times, a prime example of Latin men fitting a very common stereotype role is the treatment or depiction of them in the Disney Star Wars movies. First, we have the character Cassian Andor, who is a lying assassin who has to be shown the right way by the white woman eventually. And in this film, the writers don't even bother to write a romantic link between them. I note this because there is also a lack of Latin men as romantic leads. This is also not uncommon, of course. Secondly is the Benicio del Toro character, who is simply a thief and a con man who can't be trusted. Then there is Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac, who happens to be Guatemalan. Isaac's character appears to have some glimmer of hope in actually being a protagonist who isn't simply needing instructions from a white protagonist based on his limited role in the first Star Wars movie. But then The Last Jedi comes out, and he becomes a reckless hothead who can't be trusted with any plans, no matter how dire the circumstances.
Limited amount of time that we can stay out of range of those Star Destroyers.
Very kind of you to make me aware. Let's give me this.
And we need to shake them before we can find a new base, so what's our plan?
Leia's last official act to demote you for your dreadnought plan, where we lost our...
I just want to know what's going on.
I've dealt with plenty of trigger-happy flyboys like you.
In fact, they make Dameron so dumb that he has to be hit in the head and kept in the dark about everything by the superior white women who know better than him. This was disappointing by Disney, and somehow they managed to ruin the chance of finally making a wholesome Hispanic Latin character a hero, but instead opted to make him a dummy for the sake of white neoliberal feminism. To this day, as a Latin man, I have had very few Latin male role models and just as few proper representations of Latin men that don't fall for the age-old Hollywood stereotypes that they are typically casted for. I think it's about time Hollywood and television media does better and brings more Latin men to the front in center roles. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks.